Hi, I'm Saren.
And I'm Ray.
We're your Spider Baby hosts from To Know Her Is to Fear Her, a Spider-Woman podcast, as well as proud members of the collective.
You're listening to Capes and Lunatics. Gimme, gimme.
Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend D.G. Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Recording has started. Ladies and gentlemen, in a world of capes and lunatics, of gods and monsters, there are those threats that are too great for any one hero to face. In those times, they must come together to avenge humanity. They are the Avengers, and this is the Avengers Declassified. Good morning, I am your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me, as always, is the blue-eyed bomber from the Burger Pits.
Good afternoon, it's Phil, Podcast Perich.
I have no idea when they're listening.
I know, that's what you said, morning, I said afternoon.
Good afternoon, good morning, and you know what? It's always morning somewhere, and it's always afternoon somewhere.
Could just pull the old Paul Harvey and just say, good day.
Good day. Yes, Paul Harvey, the greatest of us all. Oh, Philip! The next 3 episodes of Secret Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, I had forgotten that poor old Wasp was, like shot. It's like...
Dead for a while!
Yeah, that happened. Oh my goodness. Not for nothing, I respect the restraint of writers that no one has ever dealt with. Like, what happened to the Wasp when she was unconscious with the wrecking crew? It's like, yes, no, we don't care, no one wants to know, and we're going to assume nothing untoward.
I thought you were going to say,
okay.
did she see a bright light? Okay.
Well, no, I mean, she was clearly dead, but, you know, dead on the Beyond World, it's not dead. For goodness sakes, everyone on the board is dead, you know. That's the thing about Doctor Doom and everyone else here. Everyone is just literally their toy.
Oh, yeah.
And, so I am happy to see the Wasp here. I'm happy to see all the extra vehicles that we never got to buy.
I know.
Yeah, because and honestly, them throwing the Wasp out as just here's the Wasp, here's your character. So here's that. That's a thing we're doing now. Meanwhile, of course, Galactus is still like, yeah, I'm totally gonna eat the planet, man. I mean, I don't know why that brought me. But they said if I eat the planet, then I don't have to eat any more planets. So you know what? I've murdered billions. The people on this planet, it's just a few more billion, but then I'd never have to eat anyone else. So maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a net positive, is what they're saying. Does Reed go to the ship? No, this is Doom up in the ship.
You want me to read it?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Read the synopsis.
All right, Secret Wars number 7, Berserker. Where's the month? November 1984. Writer, of course, Jim Shooter. Penciler, Mike Zeck. Inker, John Beatty. Colors, Christy Shealy. Letterer, Joe Rosen. And editor, Tom DeFalco. Gotta scroll past a whole lot of characters. All right. The heroes gathered on Battleworld by the Beyonder have discovered someone spying on them at their camp. When the Torch corners her, the mystery woman introduces herself as Spider-Woman. When the other heroes question how another human they haven't previously met could be on Battleworld, Mr. Fantastic theorizes that since the Beyonder constructed Battleworld from planetary fragments, a portion of Earth must have been used as well. Spider-Woman confirms this by explaining that the entire city of Denver has been brought to Battleworld. When she explains that she has come to help, she shows that she is more than capable of demonstrating her enhanced strength. The other heroes decide to trust her, considering the fact that Doctor Doom has too much raw power to need to plant a spy among them. Suddenly, they are attacked by a giant vehicle. When the Wrecker pops out of the porthole, he tosses out the seemingly deceased body of the Wasp before the villains take off. Some of the heroes try to chase after them, but the vehicle is too fast. Quickly, She-Hulk picks up the Wasp's body and hands it over to their healer, the alien woman named Xanshi, who tries to use her powers to revive the Wasp, but no avail. The Avengers are furious at the death of their comrade and are ready to rush off and get revenge when Captain America stops them and reminds them of the threat of Galactus, who is still preparing to consume Battleworld. Convincing the others to stay their hand, they begin to plan their next course of action, all save for She-Hulk, who storms off on her own. Elsewhere, the X-Men retreat from the active volcanic region, and although they failed to stop a group of villains, Xavier is impressed that they were able to send Titania, Molecule Man, Absorbing Man, and Dr. Octopus packing. However, instead of returning to base, Xavier tells them to follow after their foes while he, Magneto, Storm, and Nightcrawler rendezvous with them. Meanwhile, aboard the villain's craft, the villains care for the Molecule Man, who is seriously wounded by Wolverine's claws. Seeing Owen's condition from the monitors at Doom Base, Volcana rushes to the Enchantress and asks the Asgardian sorceress to teleport her to Owen's side. When Volcana tells Amora that she is willing to do anything, the Enchantress teleports her away, satisfied by this offer. Volcana appears within the ship just as the two containing the X-Men and Magneto attack. During the course of the ensuing battle, Wolverine manages to chop off the Absorbing Man's arm while he is in the form of stone, but is burned badly by Volcana. Outnumbered and outgunned, Volcana calls a strategic withdrawal and uses her powers to cover their escape. At that moment, aboard Galactus' ship, Doctor Doom continues to search for something that will allow him to defeat Galactus and the Beyonder. However, his plan to create a distraction by creating volcanic eruptions on the other side of Battleworld has backfired and has succeeded only in alerting Galactus to Doom's presence. Locating the intruder, Galactus uses his power to violently eject Doom from his ship. Back at Doom Base, Dr. Octopus and his crew return, and Volcana begs the Enchantress to save the Molecule Man's life. At first, Amora refuses, but Titania warns her that if Owen Reese dies, she will rip out her throat. Elsewhere, the Absorbing Man wonders what to do about his severed arm. By holding it in place where it was cut, he risks changing back to human form and is surprised when his gambit pays off and his arm reattaches itself. While down below in the dungeon, the members of the Wrecking Crew lock the Lizard in a cell since he cannot be controlled after they seemingly killed the Wasp. Leaving the Lizard to rot, the Wrecking Crew are unaware that Claw has been secretly watching the entire situation unfold. When Bulldozer retires to his room, he notices that the wall has been ripped open from outside. Suddenly, he's ambushed by She-Hulk, who begins to pummel on him for his part in the Wasp's death. Hearing the commotion, Titania enters the room and sees that She-Hulk has defeated every member of the Wrecking Crew in a fight. She gets the jump on She-Hulk just as Dr. Octopus and Absorbing Man enter the fray. In yet another part of Doom Base, the Enchantress laments over her current situation and pines for the love of Thor. Her thoughts are distracted by the return of Dr. Doom, who has just barely survived being ejected from the world ship of Galactus. He stumbles into his room and passes out, proclaiming that the battle is over. As the other villains are pummeling She-Hulk, the other heroes have discovered that she is missing. When Hulk and Hawkeye tell this to Cap and try to get him to mobilize a search party, Captain America denies their request. When Cap sees that others want to go out and rescue her, he reminds them all that the stakes are too high to make decisions of the heart. Elsewhere in the village, Colossus is finally up and about after recovering from his injuries. He goes looking for Xanshi and finds her as she is leaving her hut. When she suddenly collapses, he is there to catch her. Suddenly, Captain America is contacted by Professor X, who tells him that he and his team can go after She-Hulk, while the X-Men take their place watching over Galactus. With this bit of news, Captain America orders everyone to get ready to move out. Wow. You're muted. You're still muted. Did you unplug your mic? There you go.
No, I was talking to Tristan because he was talking to me, and so... Anyway, what I will say is this is one of my favorite issues. This and the second issue are... Actually, like, these three issues are probably the most... These were the ones that were packaged with the toys. So these are real these give me a lot of reminiscence memories. You know, I like that. Spider-Woman comes in just randomly, and I love that she has literally no origin. Like, you know, Titania and Volcana, we got a literal origin for. This woman, she just has powers.
No, they wait like years before they give her an origin. I think until like Avengers West Coast. Yeah.
Eventually, she's a mutant. I know that. So.
I thought they gave her. I thought some government thing gave her powers. I thought.
Well, I don't know. I know that she was on Freedom Force for a little while.
Yeah, but I don't think technically she was a. No, I think they just like assigned her to Freedom Force. Yeah.
I know she was presenting as a mutant.
Oh, okay.
So that's all I know. I mean, honestly, I don't. You know, that's the problem. Is like you present as a mutant. I don't read mutant books. I may never see you again. But anyway,
I love Doom. I love Doom getting ejected.
Actually, that's my favorite part about these next 3 issues is Doom just like, what does it matter? We've already lost. We're effed. You know, like Doom is showing his pure dropout. This is why he's a dropout. He's not going to try.
It's his ego too. He's like, if I cannot defeat Galactus, surely none of you can defeat Galactus.
Well, I mean, really, although one could make the central argument. Maybe we should all just say we don't want to play Beyond Earth. We choose not to play the game. And that's and again, whenever you're in that spot where you're like, oh, this is an unwinnable situation, maybe we should all agree to simply not play.
Yeah, but even if every human on the planet agrees not to play, isn't Galactus still like, wait a minute?
Galactus might say, you know what, I don't want to play either. You know,
I don't know, man. That hunger.
I don't think. Well, he's got the hunger and all that kind of stuff, but the fact of the matter is. So, as an example, you could also be working on figuring out a way to get just everyone home.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, our goal is just, we're not going to play, we're all going to go home, and we're going to call it a day. Galactus can eat whatever this planet is, and we'll leave it at that. But, like I said, I do like that he is so defeated at the end of it. I do like that, as we explore all these characters, they're dealing with their own problems. I think that Marcia, honestly, is way too quick to make a deal with Enchantress.
Oh, yeah.
And although at the same time, I understand that the fact that, you know, the Enchantress, I actually think is a little bit outgunned in these situations. You know, it's like, she's like, oh, but I'm the Enchantress. I am a god. Well, sort of, you know. You're one of the bad guy gods of the Norse pantheon, and
I mean,
you're not even in the pantheon. Let's be honest here, Enchantress.
Yeah, and in this era, they kind of paint her as like a female Loki. You know, she's more trickery a lot of the times than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that Volcana could have took her if she wanted to. Like, that comes up in like it's another couple of issues, but when she goes to extract her promise.
Oh yeah.
But in this moment, it's fun.
What do you think of your boy Absorbing Man learning he can like reattach severed limbs?
Yeah, no, that's like because I actually remember that. I remember that from a coloring book. So I thought that was super cool when he does that because he's like, "Oh man, my arm got chopped off. What do I do? Because if I just turn back to human, I'm going to die horribly. Obviously,
bleed to death. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, well, what if I like stuck my arm back in its spot? And it's just crazy enough to work. I love that it works.
Asgardian magic, man.
Well, that's the thing. It's like it doesn't follow laws or physics or rules.
No, it's magic.
It's just it's freaking Loki. It is literally Loki's, you know, little, you know, and not for nothing, man. When you talk about things like when you look at characters like He Who Remains. And you realize that, oh, wait, the Lokis keep on outsmarting him and causing him problems. And you're like, oh, wait, what if Loki, like, totally gave Absorbing Man these powers that are just insane powers for a human to have?
Well, that's what I was just...
Especially because it's something that, like, you know, other beings don't have a counter for.
Well, again, I was just thinking this. What if what we should get a story one day where it's like, yeah, those powers are more in depth than he realizes because maybe he could control every molecule of his body, so maybe the reattaching thing worked because he thought it would work, so it worked. In the early days, he was like, well, I touch rocks, I can become rocks, but maybe it's deeper. Maybe he can control like every molecule of his body or something.
Well, there's a lot of qualities to it. One of the interesting things about the intelligentsia, and again, which is one of the reasons why I'm really excited for She-Hulk, and the possibility of the return of the Absorbing Man, is that reforming the Absorbing Man was sort of like their go-to trick of the intelligentsia. They would after he would dissipate or whatever, they would reform him because he was a really, really good test subject for them. And the idea of Absorbing Man, especially within the context that I like to think of that, he becomes more heroic when he's around heroes, and becomes more villainous when he's around villains because he's absorbing who he's around. He's a really great character, and so I like that we start to get a little bit of him as a character here. Because prior to this, I don't think we got a lot of who he was as a character. And honestly, once he has a relationship with Titania, then it becomes a really interesting character arc for Absorbing Man to have. But we're not there yet.
Oh,
we're just starting to get there.
And you know what? One day, if you want some good Absorbing Man stuff, when he encounters Eric Masterson, when Eric Masterson is standing in for Thor, there's some good stuff in there. Just the way
I'm
that
absolutely certain.
he kind of sees him as he almost treats him like a friend. He's like, by the time the second or third encounter, he's like, no, back off. I don't want to hurt you, but new guy. It's just
yeah. Well, honestly, that's the thing. Well, and again, that's what I get to. It's like when we first meet Absorbing Man, he's been locked in prison, probably for doing something heinous. But he's also much more evil because he's been exposed to evil people.
Yeah.
And that's the idea. So as he gets out, and really, when we get to when he is his most evil, it is when he is trapped in the asylum for the criminally insane, and he starts absorbing all of the intellects of all of the doctors in the asylum for the criminal insane, and then he becomes super, super evil. And what sets him out of it is, of course, he winds up accidentally absorbing dead people. And that's what he absorbs death itself, and that's what lets him get back to just being a normal guy. But I actually think maybe Crusher Creel is he's just a normal guy, but he's just super empathic, and he just goes along to get along, and then and that's why Loki picked him. But anyway, there's that's really this issue. I mean, She-Hulk storming off, doing a lot of punching as she does. What happens in the next issue, Philip?
Oh, well, this is the big one, kids.
Out of the chaos. What comes out of the chaos? Philip?
Comes a costume. That's right. Secret Wars number 8. Probably the most valuable issue of the whole run from December 1984. Invasion.
Yeah.
And the big moment didn't come till the end. With She-Hulk in danger at Doom Base, the heroes gathered on Battleworld rush to her aid. Their attack attracts the attention of the Enchantress, who has been drinking since she thought Thor was slain by Doom's minions, but sees that he is actually alive and well. However, she is too drunk to join the fight. Also hearing the commotion is Volcana, who is still caring for the Molecule Man after he was seriously wounded by Wolverine in an earlier battle. She refuses to leave his side. While below in the dungeon, the deranged Claw frees the Lizard from his cell. Elsewhere still, the rest of the villains are still pounding on the She-Hulk when they hear the attack and rush off to stop it. Before leaving, Dr. Octopus lands one more blow in the hopes of killing She-Hulk. While in his quarters, Dr. Doom continues to try and recover after being expelled from the world ship of Galactus, as his bodyguard Ultron guards from the door. I loved all these issues. He's just laying there the whole time.
Yeah. This actually has one of my favorite scenes of Otto when he says, "But first, the coup de grace." And he hits her one more time.
Yeah.
It's like, the die is cast. And it is just It is 99% Otto Octavius, and I do appreciate that. I love the fact that it literally has no overall effect on the situation.
No.
It is literally just him kicking someone when they're down without it actually increasing their damage, He's just like, well, now I will do the final blow, But it's not like he killed her. She's more than alive and ready to get back at you, and she's going to make you all pay.
Oh my.
Which is what a She-Hulk does.
The heroes are ambushed by the villains, and during the fight, Iron Man's armor is damaged by the Wrecker. The Thing tries to tackle the Absorbing Man, but suddenly reverts back to human form, forcing Spider-Woman to come to his aid. While Thor ties up Dr. Octopus, Pal Driver tries to square off against Hawkeye, but cowers away when the Bowman manages to strike him with an arrow. The Hulk comes crashing in on the Enchantress, but is knocked out by her enchanted charms. When she tries the same thing on Captain America, he resists her long enough to knock her out with his shield. While Spider-Man squares off against Titania, Hawkeye and Ben Grimm run into Claw and the Lizard and are concerned that they are outmatched. Iron Man, Mr. Fantastic, Thor, and Spider-Woman later locate Volcana and Molecule Man and try to attack. Molecule Man responds by erecting an indestructible screen around them, and Volcana unleashes large fire blast that fries Iron Man's armor. But Captain Marvel manages to pass through in her light form, and the heroes cease their hostilities when they find out that Owen has been seriously injured. While not far away, Spider-Man manages to get the best of Titania, delivering her a humiliating defeat and knocking her out of the fortress. Meanwhile, Captain America and the Human Torch are squaring off against Ultron. Ultimately, the Torch defeats the robot by unleashing his Nova Flame, overheating his circuits and rendering the killer robot inert. Captain America then storms into Doom's quarters and, seeing the state that Dr. Doom is in, considers Doom no threat and leaves. With the battle over, Mr. Fantastic and the others find Hawkeye and Ben Grimm playing patty cake thanks to the limited intellect of their foes. Soon, She-Hulk is found and is placed in the medical bay along with the defeated members of the Wrecking Crew, while the rest of the villains are locked up. While back in the alien village, Colossus rushes the unconscious Xanshi to her room. There he finds the bottle of mind-melding gas and uses it to learn what ails her. He discovers that the constant use of her powers to heal the various heroes have taxed her system and threatened to kill her. Colossus then professes his love to Xanshi. Elsewhere, Hawkeye and Captain Marvel return to discover that Xanshi pushed her powers to the limit so she could revive the Wasp. While from their lookout, the members of the X-Men notice that Galactus is getting dangerously close to completing his world-devouring device. Back at Doom Base, Iron Man is impressed that Mr. Fantastic seems unsurprised that an African-American is wearing the Iron Man armor. While elsewhere, Spider-Man notices that Thor got a new helmet and cap. When Hulk tells Spider-Man that there is a device that creates costumes by thought, he goes to check it out for himself since his own uniform is in tatters. Finding what he believes to be the machine the Hulk was talking about, Spider-Man thinks into it, and a strange black ball comes out and lands on his hand. Spider-Man is surprised when the blackness begins to spread up his arm and envelops his body in a black and white costume. As Spider-Man begins to wonder why it doesn't look like his old costume suddenly, the ground begins to quake. This is followed by a telepathic distress call from Professor Xavier warning the heroes that Galactus is about to consume Battleworld.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, there is an unused what if, where it is actually Spider-Man who gets his costume fixed by the haberdashery machine, and it is Thor who goes in and gets a new black cape that becomes his own symbiote. And honestly, why that has never been explored, I don't know. But it is something from the first time I saw it. I said, you know what? That is the story.
What if Volume 2, Number 4, when the suit consumes Spider-Man, and once it basically kills him, it goes looking for. First it jumps on Hulk, and then it jumps on Thor.
I know, but it would be different if Thor had the symbiote from the beginning.
Yeah.
The symbiote. Everyone's been infected by a symbiote at this point in the Marvel universe. It's like, okay, yeah, we've seen it. What I will say about this issue is this has one of my favorite scenes is Molecule Man creating the dome of air. Mm-hmm. And it's also interesting because this is one of those. It's like when I first read the Fantastic Four And, when Sue Storm becomes Malice and Daredevil says, "Why are you fighting an amorphous blob?" And it's like, oh, amorphous. And this is where we get this idea that it's not invisible, it's transparent. And transparent means I can fly through it because I'm made of light. And I love that scene. And then I love the real horror of the heroes when they realize, oh, fudge, Owen Reese is hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to punch a bad guy. Even a bad guy, I don't want to punch him when he's hurt. So I do like that. I like that he is, and I do like the idea of the evolution that Owen is going to go through in this, and he's going to get to be a better person, and that's good.
What about Hawkeye and Ben Grimm playing patty cake?
Well, I don't remember the context of that, but it's a little too cute by half, but it works,
Yeah, it
works within the story.
The characterization of the Lizard in this series is kind of off because usually he's just like he wants to destroy all humankind and stuff. So it's even just him when he was like attracted to the Wasp, I was like, really?
Well, he's kind of a weird monster.
Again, unless it's a whole Beyond or Battle World thing, who knows?
Well, yeah, that's what I always feel about this. Is like so much of this whole series is toys. And if you had all of your superhero toys, what would they do? And you know what? You probably would have the Lizard attracted to the Wasp. Or you would just say, well, you know what? You know what lizards mostly eat? Insects. So, of course he's attracted to the Wasp.
Oh, yeah.
But, there's a lot that goes into it. But yes, on every level, it is so much about the heroes and the villains fighting each other within a structure that will then sell toys. And what's the third issue, Philip?
All right. Secret Wars number 9. Assault on Galactus. Subtle title. The battle-wounded Colossus exits the rustic building he is healing inside to see Galactus starting up his machine to devour the planet. He re-enters the building to tend to the unconscious Xanshi. He tells her he loves her and goes out to help stop Galactus. Meanwhile, the X-Men and Magneto try to attack Galactus. An energy ball appears and blocks them from continuing up the mountain. In the village, Hawkeye, Captain Marvel, and the Wasp watch the X-Men try to battle it, when suddenly a large blast on the mountain makes them think the X-Men may have been defeated. At Doom Base, the remaining heroes try to return to the battle that is going on the mountainside. They take a ship from the base and begin to travel to the battle. Hulk is distraught over his new intelligence of Bruce Banner's mind in his body. Ben Grimm suddenly regains his powers as the Thing. Iron Man ponders what Spider-Woman's true intentions are. Spider-Man, meanwhile, is glad to have his webs back since he has donned the new black costume. Mr. Fantastic thinks of a reason as to why they are all there in the first place. They reach the mountain and are hit by Galactus' beams. They crash into Colossus, who braces their ship from impact. The heroes exit the ship and begin their fight to reach Galactus. As they get closer, Mr. Fantastic realizes a meaning to this conflict and tells the heroes not to stop Galactus. He says the only way to stop Galactus is to let him win. In doing this, the Beyonder will grant him his wish of freedom from his planet-consuming hunger. As they all agree to stop fighting, Reed suddenly vanishes along with Galactus and the construct Galactus built. Reed appears on Galactus' homeworld, which is housed in his spaceship in space. There, Galactus shows Reed a vision of his pregnant wife and their child, Franklin. Then, Galactus tells Reed to listen to what he is about to tell him. Inside the containment unit in Doom Base, Dr. Doom determines that he needs to get to Galactus' homeworld, and he breaks free of his cell. He ignores the pleas of the other villains who are still trapped and releases only one other, Claw. On the mountainside, Colossus frees the trapped X-Men from beneath some rubble. They all journey into the village, and Colossus realizes Xanshi is awake and runs not to him, but to the Human Torch. While they are all discussing what to do, Mr. Fantastic reappears in the village. He says Galactus told him that Reed was a champion of life. This emboldens him not to fight Galactus. The Avengers decide otherwise. Galactus reappears on the mountain and turns on the machine again. The Avengers then head back toward the mountain. Dr. Doom watches the battle from inside Doom Base, where he cuts up Claw into tiny disc-shaped lenses. The battle continues, and Mr. Fantastic realizes he must stop Galactus to be able to see his son born. I think his child born? He tells the heroes to stop Galactus from leaving, and they cannot. He flies off to his home world, where he begins to devour it and creates a huge energy field. Doom sees this as his opportunity to steal the energy of that home world by using the claw discs as a siphon. Yes, kids, a lot of punchy in this issue. Yes.
Yeah, so that is where we're at. Man, this is a long issue. I do like to see Peter Parker in shorts, so that's nice. He does his little UPS, shorts for summer, which is always delightful. I think where this episode goes, well, I don't think this episode ever goes off the rails. I think it's all very good. This is issue 9 we're talking now?
Number 9, yep.
Number 9, the last of the series for this group. I think it's neat that, Doom was all like, oh, it's hopeless, we'll never defeat anyone, and all this stuff, like last issue, and then he's like, well, since I have you here, Claw, let me slice you up and turn you into a lens to focus Galactus's power into me.
Well, there's power to steal. Well, I think I'm back in.
I know, but within that entire concept, we should also make a point to stop and say that all the power of Galactus already got knocked back by the Beyonder. So, what is the plan if you steal the...
Technical difficulties.
Did you hit me? Okay. What is the plan? What is the plan after you steal the Galactus power, aside from just killing everyone? Because literally, Galactus tried to face the Beyonder, and the Beyonder knocked him back in panel 6. And so, what is the plan in this? What is the idea? How do you seize power by, I don't know, attacking someone from another perspective? It just doesn't seem like it's going to work. But that is how comic books tend to work. Oh, goodness me.
Hey, Charlie, did you know that Black Suit is not the only thing that comes back from Battleworld that doesn't become... It's not the only thing that's sentient.
Oh, what else comes back from Battleworld?
Remember the modifications Reed made to the Iron Man armor?
Oh, yes.
Rhodey gets back to Earth. They're acting all funky, so he just throws them in a snowbank or something. And then years later, in Quasar number 8, we see they kind of become sentient. They crawl into Project Pegasus, and it becomes a metal monster. Yeah,
as you do. First off, why Rhodey would do that, I don't know. Although I do gotta give this whole thing with Rhodey's hey, were you surprised to see a black man under here? And it's I really never gave it any thought as to who was Iron Man.
I mean, I buy that from Reed, because Reed definitely wouldn't. Reed's I figured there was a man under it, but I didn't, I didn't think about what color he was. I don't care.
Yeah, well, exactly, and that's what we love about Reed. He's I really don't. I don't waste neurons on that conversation. But it's neat that Doom makes his little lenses out of claw, which, sure, why not? And he focuses them and he pulls them in, and that's how he theoretically gains the power. And he's actually technically stealing the power of the Galactus. It's one of these things. You always say that he steals the Beyonder's power. I don't know if he ever actually steals the Beyonder's power.
Although, is it that Galactus has turns the whole planet into energy, and Doom's taking that as everything that the planet was, which a lot of it's Beyonder?
There's something there, but it feels like It feels like a bit of a cheat. I'll be honest with you,
Yeah.
but that's okay.
But
it's Doom, of course he cheats.
I love the heroes destroy the machine, and they're like, "Yeah, we did it." And Reed's like, "No, that just makes it easier for him. Though he can do it without the machine. It's going to be messy, but he'll still do it."
Yeah, and that is the thing, because it's like, although I do really like the idea of Galactus just like talking to Reed.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, hey, dude, man, I know you got what you got to do. I got what I got to do, man.
Well, I mean, Reed saved his life already once, so.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the other thing. I mean,
But Reed is still respectful. He's like, wow, man, I'm really impressed that you're talking to me. You're Galactus. I'm a human. And it's like, yeah, but I can still chat, man. I'm not so big that I'm beyond. I'm not too big for my antlers,
But isn't that weird? Because like in the Fantastic Four, that whole when they could have killed Galactus, and Reed's like, no, we can't. He's like a fundamental force of the universe or whatever. But then by the end of this issue, he's like, yeah, I want to see my wife and my son and my soon to be baby. He's like, yeah, no, I'll be with you. Well, let's take down Galactus. I'm like, wait a minute, wasn't he the one arguing months ago that we can't let Galactus die?
Well, yeah, but at the same, it's not that. So
I'm not saying let him eat you, but he's.
Yeah, and I guess if you're going to make an argument, the argument is it's not that you can't kill Galactus or stop Galactus. It's that Galactus is a fundamental part of the universe, which means even if we destroy this Galactus, something else will rise.
Yeah,
and it may be worse. And the idea is that if my options are see my family or kill Galactus, then, maybe I'm going to try and kill Galactus, It's a possibility, Phil. Want to talk a couple Avengers comics?
Yes.
Yes. Well, what do you want? So you want to start with Avengers?
Sure.
59?
Sure.
Old West Avengers, man. I love them embracing the cowboy mythos in these.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is a legitimate aspect of comic book lore and history. And we've got the Starbrand Kid and the Phoenix. Or the Phoenix Kid and the Starbrand. And I love that. And of course the Starbrand fits perfectly into that Old West theme because the Starbrand does look like a Marshall star. So it's cool. What did you think of this issue, Phil?
I thought it was interesting. I didn't know I needed a scene of Tony Stark and Thor in the Old West, in an Old West standoff, but I liked it.
I mean, I knew I needed that, so
yeah.
I mean, I was glad for it. But it was, it just, I guess for me, I like the old cowboy stories. That is sort of the original Pulp Fiction. Is the Old West and the cowboy mythos and that founding mythos of America, of the West, that is from whence we get comic books and superheroes and everything else. So I always like when they revisit it. I especially like nowadays when we revisit it and we can acknowledge much more the complexities of the scenarios that these people would have existed in. And I think that gives it a bit more power too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Got another book you want to talk us out?
I don't think you read it. Here, let me throw this out. Black Panther number 8. It's the end of the first arc. Yeah, it's pretty good because, T'Challa's helping everyone take down this renegade, this guy who's trying to take over Wakanda. And, the government now is like, oh, yeah, we're not putting you back on that throne. You're not king. He's like, I told you, I don't want to be king. I just want to help, save Wakanda. But then they have Storm helping them and everything. But by the end, everyone's still mad at T'Challa because, he had basically sleeper agents in countries around the world. And, one of them was his friend who got killed. This guy who was trying to take over Wakanda, killed a bunch of the sleeper agents. So one of their other friends, she was like, yeah, no, I'm not forgiving you because you got him killed. And, you separated him from everyone he knew and you got him killed. So. Yeah, no, this series has been really good. It's who is that? Yeah, John Ridley. Yeah, really good stuff.
Good. I want to give a shout out to Captain Carter this week first Avenger in her universe, Captain Carter number 5. And you get a very interesting idea in this, which I do think may be what we're going to get in the MCU coming forward, which was this idea that the powers that be who infiltrated the organizations that would rise kept things like mutants under wraps. Like mutants were known and a thing, but they worked really hard to keep this idea under wraps. And so I think that is something we're going to see in the MCU. In this one, we have Lizzie Braddock, who is, of course, Psylocke. But in this universe, she just has the powers, and she's still relatively young. It works out well with Peggy, who is, fills in as that mentor role. But I really felt that there was a lot that was interesting in this that I think we're going to be revisiting later. And I think it also sets up some interesting ideas for the MCU, and the idea that when you had a shield, when you had a group in charge of things, they actually were able to control what people knew or did not know. So that's cool.
Very cool.
Okay, you got another one you want to toss out?
We definitely have to talk Captain America, Sentinel of Liberty number 3.
Oh, of course, yes. Apparently his shield is a record. Because he actually gets to the bottom of it, and although, to be fair, that it's a volcanical lair doesn't mean that its power isn't green, because volcanoes tend to be considered green. So if you can pump water into the cooling chamber of the volcano-powered villain base, you could actually have a lot of clean energy.
Mm-hmm.
But, I like the idea I like the fight, or the leading to a fight of Peggy Carter and Bucky Barnes.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you also really have to understand that clearly there's more to Sharon Carter than meets the eye. Maybe she's an alternate universe Sharon Carter. Maybe she is a Skrull Sharon Carter. Any number of possibilities. But in this moment, I think, does she die? She doesn't end up very well. But I also don't like who they, what's her name? Elvira. Elvira, but.
Wait, that's the one he calls you must be the machine or whatever?
Yeah, the machine. I'm sorry, I'm getting all of my comic books confused now. When the machine shows up, I am totally lost in my own head. Until it's late, I'm falling asleep.
Well, is it a coincidence she has robotic tentacles, or?
Yeah, well, little quantum tentacles.
Yep.
Although she says the actual designer of the shield was her son.
Mm.
But I do like in this concept the idea that the designer also says they gave you their symbol because they wanted to control you, but I'm telling you now it's your symbol now. Which I thought was a nice bit in that. I like where it's going. I like the Winter Soldier Peggy Carter fight. And, we'll see where it goes. Honestly, I feel very positive about it. Although, again, we have the machine, and the machine's going to go after the young ward that Steve Rogers has adopted. That's not cool, man. That's not cool.
Yeah.
And then we got Jane Foster, the Mighty Thor.
Mm-hmm.
We got a lovely bunch of demons trying to do bad stuff. Although it's interesting because there's also this balance between tier. One thing I actually really like is this demon she's fighting here. I'm forgetting his name, but I actually want to say he was very prominent in the X-Men
Inferno, yeah.
Inferno storyline. So I really like seeing him again. I think it's a good book. I don't know, Phil, what did you think?
Yeah, no, it's a really good book. Yeah, that Sim, yeah, he's been around a few times, but yeah, he's well known from Inferno, and yeah, I think they're doing good things with Jane here. We even get Valkyrie, but no, just Jane using her head, even with Odin like yelling, quote unquote yelling in her ear.
Yeah. Well, Odin's kind of a jerk,
Stuck in a hammer.
We know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I guess that can make you cranky, but even still. Anyway, yeah, I mean, it's a good book. I think all of the Avengers books are hitting on good cylinders right now, and I appreciate them.
Oh, yeah.
You want to get out of here, Phil?
Yeah. All right. You want me to do the plugs?
I'm tired. I'm falling asleep.
Yeah.
Why don't you do the plugs of all the Capes and Lunatics stuff, Phil?
All right, kids. Yes. Send your thoughts. Next week, we're going to be wrapping up the Secret Wars stuff with issues 10 through 12 and whatever new Avengers books we get. So, yeah,
Will Doom win the Secret War? Who knows?
I was trying to steal that power. All right, kids. So, send your thoughts. Email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can follow Avengers Declassified on Facebook, on Twitter. Find the Avengers fan group on Facebook. Find links to all the various social medias for all the Marvel and DC shows we do. Links to our YouTube channel, everything we do. Gets a video, so smash that subscribe button so you don't miss a second of it.
All right,
Here we go.
smash it.
All right, and please subscribe to our Patreon. Again, paying for this ourselves, but for $3 to $5, you get early access to all the creator interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats.
I got the good mic out for you guys.
And superhero movie brackets. We will find the worst superhero movie of all time. August's episode is going to be League of Extraordinary Gentlemen vs. Sin City 2 with Dame to Kill For. So subscribe to that. And pick yourself up some Capes and Lunatics and Capes Lunatics Sidekicks merch. Find it all at Linktree, linktr.ee/Capes and Lunatics. Charlie Esser, where can people find you?
Well, if they'd like to write to me in that old-fashioned email way, the way our mothers and fathers once said, they can do so at superconductivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconductivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And, of course, follow me on the Twitter as I live tweet things like Stargirl, which is coming back, at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the two E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
All right.
Thank you, Maz. All right, ladies and gentlemen, dear listeners, we've come to the end of another Avengers Declassified. Please be careful, for this podcast will self-destruct in 10 seconds. Good night.
Good night. What Galactus said.
Tristan was counting down for the podcast self-destruction, but
A little more than 10 seconds.
you know what? Yeah, a little more. It's not the best watches I have. All right, Philip. Talk to you next week.
See you next week for the conclusion, kids.
Hi, I'm Russell.
And I'm Justin.
And we're from the
Hold up. Listen up, you nerds. Tired of being a little goody two-shoes? Had enough of always talking about acts of courage and heroism? Well, you have come to the right place, I guess. Tomes of Evil is the comic book supervillain podcast, where every month we do a deep dive on a different comic book supervillain, as well as multiple sub-series on some of the most iconic foes of all time, including Darkseid, Doctor Doom, Scarecrow, and...
Name's Hobgoblin, and you're right on time for your funeral.
I better be getting paid for this. So what are you guys waiting for? Bring on the bad guys.
Tomes of Evil, a comic book villain podcast.